featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word
From talkSPORT.
Here we go, baby. It's coming home. It's coming home. This is the S Word from talkSPORT. I'm Will Gavin, alongside me, Master Tess Fatsian. I'm not going to promise to have that energy and be that positive about everything we talk about today. As Thomas Tuchel announced, this is the England squad for World Cup 2026. We're going to get into it.
I might, though.
Yeah.
I'm maybe changing my tone a little bit.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is the first time he said that to me, by the way. We've been together for like 2 hours, but whatever. Look, we're going to go over the England squad. We're going to discuss who misses out, who made it, what the big surprises were. Matt Ford will join the show as part of that, the host of the How to Win the World Cup podcast. Big Forest fan as well. Him, our buddy Max Scott, of course, not happy about Morgan Gibbs-White missing out.
We're getting, midnight text from him? Is he still pondering? Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Oh, man, he is not a happy chappy right now. And, of course, look forward to a huge weekend in the Premier League, final weekend of the season. EFL in the playoffs as well. The Women's Champions League final. We'll Clear and Obvious with Christina Uncle, all coming up on today's show.
Big show!
So, yeah. Even though the squad announcement was this morning, talkSPORT were receiving breaking news all the way through yesterday and into the evening, and basically had the 26 pretty much confirmed going into last night. But we do now have the England squad for the 2026 World Cup. Yes, I have rocked my 86 throwback today. I treated myself with a little bit of that action. It's not the only shirt I'm going to wear today. We'll have some fun with that in a little while. But should I go over the squad first and foremost?
Please do.
Am I just reading out the 26 here, making sure that everyone knows what it is? Yeah, fine. I'm just double checking with the boys, the guys on the other side, just to make sure.
And gals.
Yeah, that's why I switched it. But yeah, fine. So, goalkeepers, Jordan Pickford, Dean Henderson and James Trafford, as we actually first mentioned yesterday on the show, taking the young Man City goalkeeper who is expected to start for them next season in place of Ederson. At the back, Ezri Konsa, Jarell Kwanzaa, the Leverkusen centre-back. Reece James does travel, as does Mark Gay. Dan Burn is picked. Jed Spence, Dino Livramento and John Stones. No Harry Maguire, kind of the big headline from that. No Lewis Hall either as well. Midfield, Elliot Anderson, Kobbie Mainoo, Jude Bellingham, Nico O'Reilly is listed as midfielder, but obviously likely to play left back in this squad. Declan Rice, and the big one, Jordan Henderson, does make the team. And there are up front, 3 number 9s picks in this team, because not only does Harry Kane travel, we also have Ollie Watkins, Villa striker, and Ivan Toney, which was the big kind of shock news yesterday afternoon. In terms of the wingers and the 10s, we've got Morgan Rogers, we've got Anthony Gordon, Marcus Rashford, Eberici Eze, Bukayo Saka, and one of the other big surprises, Noni Madueke, the 24-year-old Arsenal wide man. Bukayo Saka's backup, essentially, is also coming to the World Cup. Master, what stuck out to you immediately when you first heard the squad, when we were getting those bits of information leak through overnight?
Let's go big picture here first.
Okay, I'm down.
Tuchel.
We're going to hear, by the way, from Thomas Tuchel. He's been speaking exclusively with talkSPORT. No Phil Foden. No DCL.
Yes.
No Cole
Maguire.
Palmer. No Harry Maguire. Some big omissions, and we're going to hear from Thomas Tuchel about all those things coming up shortly.
No Morgan Gibbs-White. A lot of omissions on this team, but I will commend Thomas Tuchel. He had a plan. He was very pragmatic. He knew exactly what he was looking for. And some of these uncomfortable decisions, he was more than willing to do, which is what every single fan of the Three Lions has been asking for the last couple of years. From Jared Southgate.
Are you suggesting that England fans sometimes talk out both sides of their mouth? Sometimes,
sometimes they do.
Aren't sure what they want.
But Gareth Southgate, yes, he had the vibes. He was able to minimize the back pages and the tabloids. He had the team focused, but it always felt like, from what I understood, people wanted more pragmatic, wanted someone more tactical, someone that can make the tough decisions. Well, Thomas Tuchel's doing that. And so the complaints that are coming out, yes, I can understand some of these decisions that people are upset about, most notably the Harry Maguire decision, leaving him off, considering how well he's performed this season for Manchester United. And when you look at John Stones, who made the squad, who is quality, but unfortunately has just not been fit.
I would argue on his day, when healthy and playing, England's best centre-back.
He's played 290 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm
not disagreeing with you. I totally understand why you take John Stones. I think it makes sense. If he's healthy, if he's ready to go, you start John Stones. You probably end up starting John Stones and Mark Gay more in this World Cup than they've started for Man City in the last 6 months, right? So, you're hoping for some England squad synergy with national team level. But, the thing that blows my mind about the Harry Maguire thing, and the thing that I just don't understand, is you've got some great players missing out in midfield, right? Adam Wharton, James Garner, I thought was a good outside shout. Morgan Gibbs-White is a guy who can play 8, who can play a bit deeper behind a 10 as well. And yet, they're taking Jordan Henderson because, in theory, Jordan Henderson is a great tourist. He's a great leader. He has everything that kind of embodies that spirit of the squad, has been to major tournaments, all that great stuff. I get the theory behind that. Why not pick the guy who was playing his best football for the last 2 years at a top team who's got them into the Champions League, who is a goal threat in both boxes? Why is Harry Maguire not your leader and your great tourist? I feel like centre-back is a weaker position for England. I would much rather have seen Harry Maguire in this squad, no Jordan Henderson, and then use that extra position, dropping a centre-back, whether that be Dan Burn, whether it be Kwanzaa, and then bring in somebody creative, somebody who can make a difference off the bench. That's the thing that's really, it just makes no sense to me. Why, even though they're not like for like position for position, you've essentially seemed to have picked Henderson over Maguire as that leader character, and that just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, is Jordan Henderson more liked than Harry Maguire, personality-wise? I don't know these two people, but when I see pictures of Jordan Henderson hanging out with some of these players, Tuchel was very adamant in the press conference he had after the decision was made this morning and announced officially that there was a group of 5 or 6 players that he was not willing to name who they are, that are part of this leadership group since last March, that have really taken ownership and accountability, and he's really liked what they've seen. And even though he's not naming those names, it's hard not to believe Jordan Henderson is a part of that and maybe one of the focal points of that. Now, granted, he's not going to play that many minutes, and neither was Morgan Gibbs-White if he was going to make the squad. The unfortunate reality for Morgan Gibbs-White is, as well as he has performed, there's just so many great attacking midfielders that England has.
I mean, Morgan Gibbs-White missing out, I think, based on form and performance of the last 6 months is really tough on him. Yeah, their best player in getting to a European semi-final, their best player in surviving. He has the best goal return ratio, both in goals and assists from any of those number 10s over the past 6 months. But it's odd that, arguably on form, him missing out is such a huge thing. But actually having, no Cole Palmer, no Phil Foden. If you'd said that 12 months ago, that none of those players are going to make the England squad, and yet you're probably going to be happy with the number 10 position, that would be astonishing to me. I thought at least Morgan Gibbs-White would get in, and I actually thought one of Cole and Foden would as well.
Why?
And all 3 missing out.
Why would you think Foden or Palmer? Foden, what has he shown? In the run-in right now, the biggest match of the season, the last two matches for Manchester City, 2 huge matches, one with the title on the line, the FA Cup final, and also the match against Bournemouth with the title deciding they needed 3 points. Phil Foden did not play in the FA Cup final, and he came off the bench against Bournemouth. I think that spoke volumes into the decision-making and the form that he's been in, which quite honestly, he has not been the same player since he won Player of the Year with Erling Haaland and with Kevin De Bruyne. On the flip side of that, Cole Palmer, what have we seen from him this season, really outside of the Club World Cup final against PSG? What have we seen from him from the last 18
I would say the difference for me, and the reason we did our squads yesterday, I had Cole Palmer in over Phil Foden. I didn't have Phil Foden in the squad. Is Cole Palmer is, right now, I would say has much more potential to make that impact off the bench if that's the role he plays for. He has much more potential to have that moment of magic. Phil Foden's still capable of that, clearly. 2 unbelievable assists in the Palace game. But like you said, Palace, who are very much an on-the-beach team who are focused on a European final coming up.
There was no Sarr. Neither of these midfielders started in that match that he got the 2 assists for. So in terms of production, what production has he shown that he's in form as some people think he is?
Really interesting quotes from Thomas Tuchel in his conversation with talkSPORT. We'll have some of this coming up for you shortly. Just double check which bit we're going to be playing out for you. But he said, as far as Cole Palmer is concerned, Palmer is not available enough for us. Eze, Jude and Rodgers all had better seasons and played better in camp. Pretty emphatic on that. On Foden, excellent in camp for us. Saw his reaction, saw how much it meant. but he lost momentum in a crucial part of the season. And this, for me, was the biggest thing. Tuchel, not sure of his best position. Is he a 10? Is he an 8? Is he a winger? And this has been a problem for Phil Foden for 5 years. This isn't a problem for Phil Foden in 2025, 2026. This has been a problem for him throughout his career at Man City. When you are in a team with the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, with Bernardo Silva, with David Silva as well, like, what was his best position? He was always a brilliant talent, but was he best coming in off the left where he wasn't? Oh, coming in off the right, sorry, where he's not necessarily going to get the minutes for England because of who else they have in that position, Bukayo Saka. Was he best as a 10? Well, you've got Jude Bellingham. If Jude Bellingham's playing the 8, well, arguably you play Morgan Rogers or Cole Palmer in that position. I know Cole Palmer's not in this squad, but I'm just talking kind of more expansively. I do not... The Foden thing makes total sense to me. For me, he's very clearly gone for a team gone for a squad where it's about positional flexibility. You know, Jed Spence makes this squad. Fastest player in the team, can play left back and right back. He is there because he can cover all sorts. Dan Burn makes this team. Dan Burn can play left back and centre back. He's not going to be a starter. He's not a guy that... But again, this is where, when the criticism comes down, and I've made my own criticisms, you still need to understand that Thomas Tuchel has been around this team for 2 years now. He's been around these players for longer than that in a lot of their cases in his Premier League career as well. Do you take Cole Palmer with you? Do you take Phil Foden with you if you know that their mentality is, and I'm not saying that this is their mentality, but if you know they are the kind of players that if they're not starting, if they're not getting minutes, they can be a problem in the squad. You have to trust that Thomas Tuchel knows the men, not just the football player, and that he's making the right decision for balance, for being together for hopefully 6 weeks, 7 weeks, all the way through to the final. Like, that's what you have to trust in Thomas Tuchel. And I have to say, whilst the football hasn't been spectacular over the last few games, while in the friendlies the performances weren't phenomenal, I do feel like I trust Thomas Tuchel more than I have done previous England managers when making these kind of wilder decisions.
I think he has been very thoughtful with everything that's going on. And it's getting me to my point. I'm changing my tune on England. I have been very critical of England. I said it was not coming home. And right now, based off what I've seen from this roster, what I've seen Tuchel, the decisions he's made, the explanations that he made.
Give it to me.
I am more hopeful and optimistic for England than I ever have been in my life.
It's coming home.
I still don't know if it's coming home.
It's coming home.
But I have a lot more belief. I still believe in Portugal. And Spain will be a threat. Argentina as well. But England absolutely deserves to be in the conversation.
And listen, when we talk about some of the other decisions that have been made, Noni Madueke,
Ivan Toney.
We'll get into Ivan Toney as well. But what we have got here versus a Cole, versus a Foden, who may feel hard done by missing out, ignoring the issues at the back, ignoring the Jordan Henderson of it all, which Henderson you could have taken as a coach. You could have done what you did with David Beckham when he was injured.
Henderson wasn't injured though. That's the difference. Like it means something different if the player is suited up, training with you. He's in the trenches.
If you're that desperate to have him there as a force for the squad, I think there are other options. But the point is, with the players that he's picked going forward, what I do like about it is that these are players who better suit the style of football of Thomas Tuchel. They are direct players. They are going to run at people. Anthony Gordon is a guy that I have very mixed feelings about as a Premier League footballer, as a guy that is he really worth 100 million pounds to Bayern Munich? But what he is very direct. He gets to the byline. He delivers the ball. He'll play that style of football. And I think
Noni as well. As much as people want to criticize Noni as well, look, statistically speaking, he's one of the best in a low block situation, and he's going to compete with Saka on the right wing. Obviously, Saka's going to start, but if you're down in a match and you're facing a team in a low block like they did with Japan in the friendlies, and you need someone to be direct, to whip in crosses and take people one-on-one and continue to have that mindset and mentality where every single time they are going to go direct. Noni provides that.
But I have to say, that is where Noni doesn't make sense to me versus, and I know that, again, not like for like positions, but Morgan Gibbs-White has been playing off the left for Forest recently. I think he is a more versatile player. I think he's been a more informed player. I think he's played more minutes. I would take Morgan Gibbs-White, even though it's not a direct right winger, over Noni Madueke because he just does more for me and I can do more.
Then who's going to be
him.
your backup right winger to Saka?
Hopefully I don't need anyone, but
no, he's been playing with an injured Achilles all year. You just never know. And again, Noni will buy into the system. He'll buy into the team. He'll do everything it takes. He's not someone that you have to worry about personality or character-wise. If you give him 10 minutes, he'll be happy those 10 minutes. If he's on the bench the entire time, he'll be over there rooting and supporting everyone. He's a good boost and morale guy that has been involved in a lot of big matches in the run-ins. So He can give you some set pieces. He can give you crosses in the box. He can take guys on one-on-one, give you some shots in the box. He what I like about Tuchel and the way he thought about this, with the World Cup, there's so many problems that you're going to come across that you need to find a solution within your roster to do so. And you see these interchangeable parts, all these flexible pieces that can play multiple positions, that can do multiple things. Tuchel's looking at this very pragmatically and saying, if problem X is brought up to me, what is the solution? And I think he has done a good job of balancing that out and not making this team too attacking with some of these attacking fullbacks like a Lewis Hall, which again, tremendous player. I
would have definitely had Lewis Hall in this squad. Like that is one that I think for me that's a bigger miss than a lot of the other ones that are being talked about. Actually, it's the ones at the back. It's Maguire and Hall are the two that I kind of
why is that
stuck in my craw a bit more.
You've got enough over Trent Alexander-Arnold. If you want someone that's attacking, that can do a lot of things, that can create chances, that can...
Lewis Hall's a more complete defensive player than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Again, opposite sides, but Lewis Hall is a player. Tino can play both sides. Obviously, you've got Nico. I imagine Nico O'Reilly's plan to start. I think that's the idea.
100%. And Nico gives you that complete that you're looking for. He's a perfect ideal.
If Lewis Hall was starting for England, I wouldn't have a problem with that. And I think I would have him in the squad as my second choice left back. I don't like that it's Jed Spence or Dan Burn if Nico O'Reilly goes down. That's not the right choice for me. Or Tino moved it to the other side.
I was going to say Livermento as well has the flexibility as well. Quanta can
honestly, that's what I would do. If for some reason Nico O'Reilly gets injured in the first game, I think I'd play Tino Livermento at left back as long as he's healthy. Like that's the direction I would go in with the current setup. Let's just talk, because we have kind of picked about all the different parts of the squad and been a bit scattergun here. Let's just talk about the striking options, because Harry Kane, best number 9 in the world.
Solves itself.
Yeah, you know that he's starting, but this is the longest, the hottest, the biggest World Cup ever. All those things we keep saying. They do decide to take 2 9s behind him, something that Southgate hasn't necessarily done. He's normally just gone for the single strike option with the idea that you have a Rashford or someone who can play centrally, a false 9 in Foden, whatever that looks like. Does take Ivan Toney, does take Ollie Watkins. I love the Ivan Toney pick.
Really?
I really like
him. Talk to me.
Look, he talked about how him versus Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it was 51-49. Like, he came very close to taking Dominic Calvert-Lewin to the World Cup, and if there are health issues, he will be very high on that list of guys to take in their place. Ivan Toney is better as a second striker alongside Kane, if that's what they need to do, and they have done that previously. I think he is a better finisher overall, a better goal scorer than any of those other options. Honestly, for me, Ivan Toney's move to the Middle East was one of the most disappointing moves of the last couple of years, because I really hoped that if he was going to leave... And he had the gambling hanging over his head, and he had he had the media issues hanging over his head, and maybe that's what he needed. He needed to get out of the cauldron of English football. But when Spurs are trying to pick whether to sign Dominic Solanke or Ivan Toney, I was begging them to sign Ivan Toney. I think he would have been hindsight's 20/20 with Solanke's injuries, but I think Toney is a top tier Premier League striker when he's healthy and on form, and I hope he comes back after the World Cup. I hope he sees minutes in this World Cup. It's been a disappointment to me that I've not been able to watch him week in, week out play his football.
32 goals for Al Ahly.
And 32 goals this season in blistering heat, 35 degrees, 40 degrees, the same sort of temperatures we're going to be seeing in the United States where we're playing our games this summer, in the humidity as well. I absolutely love that he has made a ballsy decision with this and gone, do you know what? He might not have been recent England squads. He might not have been the hot name on people's lips. Ivan Toney is the right fit, particularly because he can play alongside Kane, or I think he's the best option if Kane is either unfit or we're rotating.
32 goals, 7 assists, over 2,700 minutes played. And of course, he has a German manager that Thomas Tuchel's very familiar with. So he had that inside information of understanding his fitness levels, his mentality. And so, and Tuchel mentioned that in the press conference as well, how it was a bit of a surprise for him too, considered Toney. But again, Tuchel did his due diligence. And that's all you can ask for from a manager, is to make sure that you are fine-combing through every single player that you can have available for the squad and assessing every single situation. So I commend Thomas Tuchel. I know
you've commended him and you've been very positive overall.
I am.
Is there a decision that you didn't like? Is there something that you would have made?
The one is the Harry Maguire over John Stones. His argument there, which again, it contradicts his argument for guys like other players that weren't fit and available. John Stones has played two games, 90 minutes this year, and both of them were FA Cup games. He has not been available. Tuchel's decision and argument was that he had the training data that showed his fitness levels, and that there's 4 weeks to prepare from now until the start of the World Cup.
That goes back to what you're saying, though, about his meticulousness and about the fact that he's gone into Man City, he's got the training data, he's paid attention to a lot of that. It's not just what's he done on the pitch, but how healthy is he and ready to go.
But if you're going to judge other people based off the performances they have on the pitch and how they perform with you in the national team and how, if they're competing for titles, and then you're going to go and justify, which I felt was a bit emotional because it sounds like he really, really loves John Stones, and understandable.
He's England's best defender. He is a class above everyone else in that team when
he's fit. When he's fit. And he has not been fit. Where Harry Maguire has been, he's as durable as they come, Harry Maguire. You know what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get someone that's rock solid, a right-footed center back for them. That's the one where I thought you maybe should have gone with Harry Maguire.
I made it very clear I'd take both. There were other guys that I wouldn't have taken Kwanzaa. I wouldn't.
Kwanzaa's been good. We saw the Leverkusen Arsenal in the Champions League. Kwanzaa's had a good season. This isn't the same Kwanzaa that we saw last year at Liverpool.
But we know that they're going to be starting, right? Say that Stones isn't healthy. Say that's not. We know it's going to be most likely Gay and Kwanzaa starting, right?
100%.
Then I'm talking about who the backup centre backs are, and for me, I would like to have seen Stones, Maguire. Whereas Maguire's the first rotational in. He's been healthy. He's been playing, and then Stones is. I'm taking a risk on this. I'm taking a punt. But I know he's a world-class centre-back when he is healthy. And that's the punt I'm taking. And sometimes you do have to take those punts. You do have to have that little bit of luck for it to work.
You absolutely do. But also it can backfire on you. But then that's where you bring in a Dan Burn and you have some of these position flexibility guys that,
He's not been good this year, Dan Burn, though.
I understand. But he can play two different positions. He's a left-footed centre-back for you, so he gives you a different option. He gives you a set-piece threat. He's physical, so if you're playing physical teams,
I love the theory of Dan Burn. He's in my style of footballer, but
he's as England as they come in the back line.
Yeah, exactly.
So that part of it is you bring in the physicality element of it that Dan Burn provides. He can be a bit physically intimidating to some of these squads, especially if you're facing some of these squads that may have smaller guys that you see at Dan Burn, and it's a bit intimidating. So, but I for the most part, I like what Tuchel did. I'm a lot more optimistic today than I was yesterday about England's national team.
Love that. We would love to hear from you as well. Get in the chat at talkSPORT S-Word. We're on Instagram, we're on X, and most importantly, on that YouTube channel. Get in the live chat now. You can where you are. You're watching the live stream right now. What is stopping you from just going and typing a little message down there, letting us know your thoughts on the England squad, your thoughts on our thoughts on the England squad as well. But what happened today was Thomas Tuchel held a press conference at 11 a.m. At 11:01, Michael Carrick was announced as staying at Manchester United, and at 11:13, Pep Guardiola was announced as leaving Manchester City. Talk about burying news on a difficult news day. So we will get into the Manchester managers coming up next, and we'll hear from Pep Guardiola's press conference coming up in about 10 minutes' time.
From the touchline to the terraces,
talkSPORT presents
the S-Word.
cuss words here. Just 2 hours of full-on football dialogue.
Every day.
talkSPORT presents
The S Word.
This is the S Word from talkSPORT. Get in touch with the show at talkSPORT S Word on Instagram, on X, and on the YouTube channel. I actually need to pull the live stream up, and I'm going to do it right now so I can see you all getting up in the chat and sending us some messages, as I know you're doing. We've been talking about this England squad.
We have.
It's coming home, baby.
I need to buy a couple England shirts now. I'm on board.
Yes, honestly, I mean, the bandwagon, there's room, buddy. Like, we are ready.
That's not what you said last night.
No, there's room for you.
I told you I was going to squeeze in like the Central Train in peak hours. He said it was full.
No, you're welcome. You're always welcome on the bandwagon. We will welcome all comers, as we should do at all times in this country. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the Manchester manager situation. It's a great show coming up, by the way. Matt Ford's going to join us to react to that England squad coming after 2 o'clock. At 1:20, we're going to take a little look. At 1:40, sorry, we're going to take a little look at who is relaxing, chilling out, maxing it on the beach.
Where are my shades?
Ready for this year.
Come on.
Including a certain Nottingham Forest midfielder. No European final. Meaningless game to finish the season.
Mahalo. As
No
we say.
England squad. All of that coming up as well. Plus, we'll do Clear and Obvious with Christina Unkel, and we'll predict the weekend's
Wait, do I have
games
to
with
take this off
Nostradamus. You can get that on if you want. I don't mind. I mean, it just means that they're going to get a whole section about Pep Guardiola and Michael Carrick with no explanation of what the lay is for. So it's fine. You know, we're good with it. But
He's on the beach.
Let's talk Manchester managers. Obviously, there's been a huge amount of conversation about these two men over recent weeks as it became clear Pep Guardiola would be leaving his job. Essentially just under a week ago now. However, officially announced earlier today. We expect to hear from Pep Guardiola momentarily as we'll throw and take some of his press conference live. But Michael Carrick, his appointment permanently has been confirmed. 2-year deal with an additional year option on it. He won 11 of his 16 matches in charge so far, 32 of 42 points available to him. Huge victories over Manchester City, over Arsenal, over Liverpool. This was a no-brainer, surely.
Well deserved for Michael Carrick. You can hear the hope and optimism in United fans as of late.
In certain United fans. Some of them, I think, have just browbeaten after the last 10 years.
Which trust me, I can understand.
22 for you.
But a lot of them, I feel like, have been nice one. It's been 0 now.
Yeah. Actually, can we get one of those signs that says number of days since Arsenal title victory that we can just put on the background here and flip out and flip in? That'd be great. Thank you.
Can we have another one with Man United?
I'm not sure we can fit enough numbers on the board.
Is an absolute disgrace.
Sorry, Gabs. But, I feel like when you talk to people like Gabs, when you talk to Flex, when you talk to... I have a cousin testify who's a big Man United fan. I can't tell if he's coping or if he's actually genuinely happy. The third place, having Michael Carrick, it feels like there's a foundation on which they can build off of, which for United fans, it always felt like, how do we dig ourselves out of this situation? Fake optimism and hopium into a manager that ultimately would just sputter out of control. Now it feels like they can potentially build something.
I still think they throw out some of the nonsense about, like, United's core identity, and he understands the club and stuff like that. Like, I'm sorry, we've done those managers. We've got people who you've claimed that about before. The main thing is Michael Carrick's done a really good job over the last 6 months, and that's the guy you want to continue with doing it. But there are issues with that squad. It's
100%.
The cupboard
100%.
is... whilst not bare, certainly getting towards the tail end. And so he's going to have to do a lot to get them. If they're going to go from, if you just did the league table from the 6 months he's been there, they'd be champions, to actually competing next season, that's a big gap for me. That's a jump.
And it's a different gap when also you have to compete in Champions League, also with all the cup domestic competitions, which United fans are trying to downplay, but it plays a huge role. It's beyond just the extra games added to it. It's 90 more minutes you have to consider, and more injuries that come a part of that, as we've seen all across Europe this season. So, yeah, there are massive concerns without question. And how quickly he'll be able to turn this thing around to get them to compete for Premier League titles. Because let's be honest here, third place is not good enough for Man United. It's just not. Man United is built to win Premier League titles, to win Champions League trophies, to compete for trebles, quads even. The simple fact, they have skipped leg day quite a bit. The simple fact that United fans are content with third right now it shows how low the bar was previously and how much further they still have to go. Because until I hear you Man United fans talking about how they're going to compete for titles, not just compete for titles, but that confidence and that aura, that swagger that you expect from Man United fans, not just say we're going to compete. Oh, we're winning the league this year. That has not arrived yet, and that should be the standard consistently for Man United, and that's the place that Michael Carrick has to get them back to.
Arsenal will build on this year. Man City, new manager, what's that going to do? But at the same time, real opportunity for them. The players they signed in January, fully embedded in the squad. Like, you expect Liverpool to bounce back from a really tough season. Like, between the injuries, between the new players coming in, Florian Wirtz getting bedded in, like, they will be a bounce back force. Obviously got teams like Spurs when they stay up. Sorry, I had to do it.
We'll see what Master.
Yeah, it's going to be super tough in that top four next season. He's going to have a huge amount to prove. We do have a little bit of news. talkSPORT understands talks are progressing between Manchester United and Atalanta for the Brazilian midfielder Ederson. No formal offer as of this morning, but apparently Man United have discussed terms with Ederson over a 5-year contract. So that looks close to over the line. 45 million euros is what we understand, so about 39 million quid.
Great piece of business.
And honestly, when you're talking about spending 100 million plus on a player I love in Elliot Anderson, but Ederson out of Atalanta is a great signing for what you need right now, considering Casemiro's going, considering Ogate's rubbish, considering everything else. Like, good teams get that business done early, especially in World Cup years. If Ederson starts for Brazil and they go on a deep run in this tournament, whack another 15 million euros on top of that come end of July, come August. So get it done now. It's good business.
He's 26. He turns 27 in July. So you're getting him right at his prime. Coming from Atalanta, coming from Calcio Football in Serie A, where the defensive mentality, the mindset, the physicality. Of course, there'll still be a transition probably needed playing in the Premier League, but I think this will be a good fit for Man United, and they'll probably still need to add another defensive midfielder, if we're being quite honest, but him with Kobe Mainoo, it's a good start after moving on from Casemiro.
So, what about Pep Guardiola?
What about him?
So, 11:13 this morning, we get the official confirmation finally. Apparently furious that it got leaked out previously. I was astonished when they said ahead of the Bournemouth game that Pep Guardiola hadn't necessarily communicated it with some of the players. I was under the impression that it was like one of those things that was known inside the building, but they'd kept quiet from the outside the building.
Well, do you really buy that?
Well, just the reports are that they had like a call with all of the players and that not all of them were aware, and that he was angry that that's how some people found out, was via the media instead of via him directly.
So here's my speculation, okay? There's this account called Hand of Arsenal. And I explained this to Max, which you were not there. This account called Hand of Arsenal, which I've joked around in our group chats. I swear,
Stan Kroenke's nephew.
I think it might be his grandkid or something like. I don't know who is running this account, but they are deadly accurate on Arsenal news to the point where it's somebody with inside information.
Yeah.
I believe on May 2nd, they tweeted out that they think Pep Guardiola is going to stand down and he's going to retire. And they explained why, all this different stuff. And it was the first time I really seriously considered that this reality was going to happen. And it was dropping at the same time where Man City was back in the title race, and maybe this news was leaked to try and get some public perception or get the conversation going. Is Pep going to stay or not? Because at that point, before then, it was just maybe.
Sometimes with these things, it's to get the tone of what the reaction is to it. Like,
true.
Sometimes the final decision hasn't been made, but they're like, let's float it out there. Let's find out what people are saying and thinking. Let's get some reaction to it and see if this is something that's going to be.
But it was coming from Hand of Arsenal.
So apparently,
and so that my whole thought process was, if whoever's behind this with some inside information with Arsenal has an inclination or some information that suggests that Pep's going to step down, it's hard for me to believe that other people within the building, not to say all of them, but a solid number, knew that this would be Pep's last season.
I know you speculated and discussed this on the show the other day. USMNT was mentioned, going to the US in general.
Oh, man.
Does he go to a team within the City Football Group? Does he end up in New York or somewhere like that? Jack Gorn has tweeted out, who has shown previously some really good knowledge of what's happening at City, that he is going to take an ambassadorial role within the City Football Group this year. Does that mean I'm taking an ambassadorial role, I'm stepping away, and I'm going to... Because what I'd actually love to see from Pep Guardiola, as much as I think he's in the conversation for the best Premier League manager of all time. I think he's definitely in the conversation for the most influential Premier League manager of all time. I think it's hard for me to argue that Sir Alex Ferguson, with everything he achieved, isn't the greatest Premier League manager of all time. But when you want to talk about Pep Guardiola changing the face of football from his time at Barcelona through Bayern Munich and his time at Manchester City, but also you want to talk about the other people having success right now. Mikel Arteta winning a Premier League, Andoni Iraola actually getting Bournemouth into possibly the Champions League, definitely at least European competition for the first time in their history. In US sports, we talk about coaching trees, right? Alex Ferguson, huge impact on Man United, huge success. But where are the Sir Alex Ferguson? Where are, outside of people, looking for some Fergie time, what are his long-term influences on the sport from a coaching perspective, from the way football is played and from the actual coaches that he's fed on? So I think there's a really strong argument Pep Guardiola is more influential on football than Sir Alex Ferguson. Is there a conversation where, and again, to cite American sports, I really love it when an NFL head coach does this. You step away from a job you've been doing for a decade now, and you say, taking a year away, going to go and work with teams. I'm going to go and do an ambassadorial role.
Go on the beach.
Coaching. I'm going to get, Pep Guardiola is getting on the beach, baby. Beyond the on the beach thing, it's such an intense job to be a football manager. The expectations on you, the way your day-to-day is, it's such a huge thing that actually stepping away and being able to immerse yourself and watch more football that's not from your team and the opposition you're going to be facing, going and learning from other coaches, I think that's the best thing a head coach or a manager can do, to go and reset, to go and re-establish themselves. And then if he wants to come back, and, Pep Guardiola could walk away from football now and he'd be heralded as one of the greatest of all time. But if he just wanted to walk away for a year and then come back in and take a big job somewhere else, go to Spain and take the big job that, he's not taken outside of Barcelona. Maybe he goes and takes a job at a PSG or someone. He's never been afraid of taking a job that's involved.
What would he gain from? What would he gain from that?
Or a national team job. I mean, if Thomas Tuchel flames out of the World Cup, who's saying no to Pep Guardiola as England manager? Who's saying no to Pep Guardiola as USMNT manager? But take that year away, take that time away, learn, grow, become a bigger man.
I think this is good timing for him, because when you look at the Premier League and you look at Europe as a whole, his fingerprints are all over it. And when you are an obsessive manager in the manner that he is, with innovating and changing the game and, loving the idea of being smarter than your opponents and other managers and being one step ahead, it's hard to do that when everyone else is mimicking what you're doing and maybe have found better ways to implement what you do. So I agree. I think taking a year off would be great for him to experience different things and come back with different ideas, different concepts, new perspectives.
Maybe we're getting a little bit too, hippy-dippy-ish with this.
No, I think that's genuinely
go on a gap year, find yourself a little bit Pep, get on the beach, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with him. And I again, personally, I would love for him to be at the U.S. men's national team, but I don't know what else he has to prove in Europe. He's done everything he needed to at Barcelona, at Bayern Munich, Manchester City. What else in club football in Europe does he have to prove? If anything, takes a year off, join City Ambassador Football. There's going to be a new stadium built by NYCFC. Mm-hmm. You can either transform MLS or you can transform the U.S. men's national team, and I think that would be a huge pinnacle moment for Pep's career.
Don't forget you can get in touch with us on the live streams, talkSPORT and at talkSPORT S Word. Joseph's done just that and said the England squad looks like a great squad to lose a penalty shootout in the quarters or semi-final. None of that business here. None of that negativity. Thank you very much. As
long as not Bukayo Saka missing.
What Emery's building at Villa. Absolutely. Completely unfair of me to not mention Emery's Villa when I was talking about the teams who could press and approach and who should be considered those rivaling Michael Carrick if they invest this summer and move on. So, look, get in touch with us on all these locations, on YouTube, at X and Instagram and all these other places. Up next, Max Scott's going to join us in the studio. I feel like he has some things to get off his chest.
The S Word with Will Gavin and Master Tesfacion
from talkSPORT.
football in North America. And I mean the proper kind, where you only use your feet.
The S Word
From talkSPORT.
You're back with the S Word on talkSPORT. Will Gavin, Master Tez Fathian alongside me. Don't forget to get in the chat, and we've had some great messages come in on YouTube, so we'll get to those momentarily. But we were just waxing lyrical about Pep Guardiola, and he has now appeared at his press conference, only about 10 minutes late. I'm all right with that. He's earned that right. But let's hear from the Manchester City manager, outgoing as he now is, and what he had to say when he first addressed the press.
Sunday's game against Villa. It's obviously a very busy room, so we'll take a show of hands for questions as ever. There's mics either side of the room, so please just bear that in mind when you're asking your questions. We'll start with Ian at PLP, please.
Hello, Pep. First of all, congratulations on a brilliant career here in the Premier League at Manchester City. How does it feel to be sat there about to say goodbye to this club?
Yeah, really satisfied. I don't know the right words. Really satisfied, happy and proud, and have been the experience, I would say, maybe of my life. Otherwise it wouldn't have been 10 years. So I cannot be more grateful for the amount of love and affection that I had known not today these days, for many years, and nothing else. So.
Why now?
It's the time. It's not wake up, go to sleep one day, wake up in the day after and say, now is the time to leave. It is a process that I felt it for a while, and always the club respect me unbelievable for the fact the decision. The club has to be, of course, ready. And I felt that, listen, this job is every 2 days during many years, and Selhurst Park, and Anfield, and Madrid, and FA Cup, and now I have to see, live my life, at least see what happened. And 10 years is a lot of time, and I think the club needs, new manager, new energy, with these incredible players that we have right now, and you start to write another chapter.
Pep Guardiola speaking there to the press ahead of the final game of the season for him, of course, but also after they made the official announcement that he will no longer be Manchester City manager after this season. Interesting, he aped exactly what we just talked about. This job is a mile a minute. Maybe he does step away, maybe he takes some time, but he's so football obsessive that would you be that stunned if he takes another job this summer?
He's going to be around somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on a World Cup broadcast somewhere, to be honest with you.
You might have noticed if you're watching the live stream, the change of shirt. That's because we're introducing a new feature to the show, a new segment. Look, we were always going to do it right here, right now, but another man has joined us in the studio to discuss somebody who's very much going to now be spending their summer on the beach. And that will be Morgan Gibbs-White. Max Scott, how are you, sir? I 100% deserve that. But come on, furious last night. Have you taken a breath? Have you had an opportunity to step away from the thought process and hear what Thomas Tuchel has had to say, and maybe accept the decision?
Well, I don't want to accept it. I've got to accept it. And look, I'm going to start by saying this. I love England. I love my country. That's not a very fashionable thing to say at the minute, but I am. I'm proud to be English, and I want nothing more than for us to go and win that World Cup. Having said that, the decision not to include Morgan Gibbs-White is a crime against football. It's an affront to meritocracy, and it is a stain on the hard work that Morgan Gibbs-White has done to get to a world-class level this season. No other English Premier League player has scored more goals. He is one of two English players up for Player of the Season alongside the wonderful Declan Rice. And the fact that he's not there is astonishing. And can I just make a comment on the coverage here? Broadcasters worldwide, nationwide, are acting like it's a shock that Cole Palmer and Phil Foden aren't in. Do me a favour, they've stunk the place out, and it's not a shock that they haven't been picked. What is a shock, and what people should be asking Thomas Tuchel about, isn't Cole Palmer and Phil Foden, it's Morgan Gibbs-White. And what it does is it reinforces this idea that unless you play for a so-called Big Five, and by the way, I say Big Five, not Big Six, because Spurs are nowhere near it. They're not in that conversation. It reinforces to Morgan Gibbs-White and players of his ilk, if you don't play for a club in the Big Five, then you're not getting picked. And that's a sad thing for Nottingham Forest and football fans for Nottingham Forest who followed this club from the League One to a European semi-final.
So what we're saying is if Morgan Gibbs-White had moved to Spurs in the summer, if they'd had a better season with Morgan Gibbs-White, which...
No. Spurs are not a big club.
I mean, they're arguably a big
back-to-back 17th, maybe even Championship.
Jez Spence made it into the team ahead of players who play for inferior better teams.
Another baffling call. Why have you picked 9 defenders and left out Morgan Gibbs-White? It's astonishing. 3 of which have been injured half the season. So, look, I will get behind Thomas Tuchel. I will get behind England with all of my heart, soul and life. However, at this point, I reserve the right to be disgraced. It's a crime against football. He should be court-martialed for the group games. Put Stuart Pearce in charge for the group games. It's astonishing.
I just needed that. I needed that in my life. I needed the passion and the energy. And
I know you said it's a shark, but what about a shark? Would you like a shark?
Well,
is it a dolphin?
This is a dolphin.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know my
Get that out of my face. I'm fuming.
Look, Max, we joke about on the beach, but you've still got to reflect on the season he's had, the season Forest have had. You've still got players in this England squad. There's still something to root for.
Oh, no.
You're angry right now.
Yeah, for anyone that didn't hear, I love England. I want us to win the World Cup. The Geordie Maradona could well do it for us. I'm just upset
Geordie
for Morgan.
Maradona is what a phrase.
That's what he is. Geordie Maradona. Do, do, do. Geordie Maradona. That's so I can get on the beach.
Here's my thing. As this flamingo flies off my head. How many minutes would Morgan Gibbs-White actually play? Like we're fine combing through the last players on the bench. Like it's a great starting 11 as it is.
It's a point to make, but ultimately we don't know. Morgan Gibbs-White wouldn't have started.
No.
However, the amount of football that some of these players have played, like Morgan Rogers, for example, and the heat that you know more than anybody can, and the strain that can have on players' bodies. Sure. Morgan Gibbs-White deserves to be in the squad, whether or not he play a minute or not. He deserves to be there. He's an elite player, and so you're right to point it out. I don't think that's the point, though. The point is he deserves it on form and meritocracy.
And again, it's. I am a huge. I empathized with you last night as it happened. As this thing keeps falling off my head. My head's too big.
Just put it down.
No, I like this right here.
Having a serious football conversation.
Do I not look serious to you? Anyways, I know the argument of Morgan Gibbs-White playing his position, though. When you have Rodgers, when you have Eze, potentially Jude Bellingham, who looks like he's going to be in the conversation at the number 10 as well.
Tuchel talks about playing him off the left as well. He said
potentially.
Where...
Yeah, and so it's Morgan did everything right he could have, and he has the position flexibility. There's just so many great attacking midfielders that England has available for him. It just I feel bad for him because it's just in numbers. It's a numbers game.
It is, and sadly, I'm concerned that he's going to be thinking, well, it's because I play for Nottingham Forest. That's what I worry about, the wider effect that this has. And I think that, Thomas Tuchel has made the wrong decision. I think it's a sad day for clubs like Forest, and an even sadder day for Morgan Gibbs-White, who, by the way, is one of the loveliest, most genuine, hard-working professionals you will ever meet. I've had the pleasure of speaking to him, sitting down with him. Every single teammate he plays with absolutely adores him. And I'm just, I'm sad for him.
I'm sad for you.
But look, I need to go, actually.
Yeah, get out of here. Go on.
Go ahead.
We're going to go have some fun.
Yeah.
I've rained on your parade then.
I appreciate you massively. You're a great man. You're a wonderful human being.
Thanks for letting me know that was a dolphin. I really appreciate you.
We're definitely going to have to, by the way, that first bit of speech has to go out as a clip on its own. But every time you cut to Master in the gear, we're going to have to cut to a photo of Morgan Gibbs-White or something. We can't put that on social media with that.
Why not?
We can't put that on social media with Master in his thing. Let's do some on the beach. Give us the music, baby. Let's go.
I need to tie this on my head somehow.
I feel like I'm at a luau. I feel like I'm ready to go. The summer is here. It's beautiful outside. And we're going to talk about who has made it on to the beach. Let's talk a little bit about the people who seem to be more on the beach than maybe anyone else. Aston Villa this weekend have a huge role to play in whether or not Bournemouth, Brighton, Brentford, one of them could make the Champions League. And yet, we saw the scenes on the streets of Birmingham yesterday. Is there any chance that this team are going to be taking Sunday seriously. Honestly, Unai Emery rotate the entire team because they're on a bus on the beach. They are as on the beach as it could possibly come. This game on Sunday means nothing to the Villa.
Do you think they're still asleep or they have woken up by now?
Oh, I don't think they've been to bed yet. I don't think they've even come close.
Oh, what a great parade. I saw a couple I shot out Kerry yesterday on the show as I was showing love to Villa before I ran on their parade. But he was out there in the parade with his son and his wife. It was beautiful to see. Shout out to the Villa fans.
I need to get a ukulele for this. This is beautiful.
Hello.
Yeah. Let's talk about another guy who's on the beach, Master.
Yes. Oh, man, this guy wanted his 15 minutes of fame, but thankfully, you will be living in infamy on the beach. We are talking about the Man City bottle guy. Oh, yeah. Where's your bottle? Where's your bottle? Where'd your bottle go? Look at that. All the camera cuts, all the angles. Look, he thought he really had one. He did, just like I thought I had one with this hat on right now. But I'll bring out this little dolphin right now because wherever you go this summer, I hope you get to see some beautiful dolphins. Maybe kiss one. Maybe kiss a nice dolphin. You know? Maybe you go to Ibiza, get away from all the media attention that you've gotten over the last month for your little infamous stunt. And maybe there's a nice ice cold bottle with Man City's logo right there on you so you can enjoy and remember that you bottled it, buddy. Enjoy the beach.
And I mean, for me, the most on the beach of anyone appears to be Everton because... whilst we don't have the video of what happened last night, Everton this weekend are going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the worst home team in the Premier League this season. Just 2 wins in North London all year for Spurs. West Ham need Everton to go and get a result. And yet, Jordan Pickford and just
the legend,
even wilder, Jack Grealish, just decided, do you know what? We're going to go out to a spot only suited at night time, enjoy ourselves and spill out of it in the wee hours of the morning with a few drinks in our system.
As certain gentlemen do. But Jordan Pickford probably chose to be on the beach because Tottenham's captain. Nowhere to be found.
Oh my God, what's Christian Romero doing?
Not even in the country. Christian Romero, when his team needs him most, when they need his leadership.
We dug out Kylian Mbappe for going to Sardinia. He's gone to the other side of the world.
Christian Romero is in Argentina for the final in Argentina while his team is battling relegation at home. He's on the beach, and I promise you, he's probably never coming back.
They got some beautiful beaches in Argentina, to be fair.
To be fair, I wouldn't blame him. And that was straight from Argentina straight to America. It's a much easier flight. There's
going to be some people on the beach this weekend. In the next hour, Master Damas, we will look forward to this weekend's Premier League.
Take the Hulu
action
off and bring on Houdini.
It's all coming your way in the next hour. Matt Ford is going to join us to talk more about the England squad. And yeah, we're just going to have some fun. It's a sunny day outside. It's Friday.
Summer Friday.
Beers are on the way. Don't you worry. Matt Ford up next.
Bringing all the biggest football debate.
Stateside,
The S Word.
from talkSPORT.
S Word, featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
You're back with the S Word on talkSPORT. Final hour of the show for this week. What a big show it's been in terms of news so far already. We've got 2 changes of manager in Manchester, both expected, but confirmation this morning. The England squad has been announced. We've picked over that already, and we'll be joined momentarily by the host of How to Win the World Cup, the brilliant comedian Matt Ford. We'll be joining the show. Plus, this hour, Christina Unkel joins us.
Yes.
We're going to do some clear and obvious.
Yes.
And we'll enter the world of Master Damas.
We'll see. I did not do well this last week, but we'll talk about that later. Seeing this news dropping right after England's roster drop, that is quite the Friday news dump.
Yeah. It's classic. Those 2 bits of news coming out immediately while Thomas Tuchel's on stage.
I don't get
being
that.
questioned about his decisions that he's made, and we get that.
It's not bad news. It's good news, and you drop it right after England. I don't understand that, but that's maybe the American in me talking about that. So, I would expect you to give it more time and let everything live as it needs to. But
Americans bury bad news. Our PR people just bury all news. Just don't let the media actually cover us.
Don't let them see it. Don't let them see it.
All hiding
Good
behind
news.
those things. Ollie gets in touch with us on YouTube and says, Master, all about the like-for-like replacement at right wing when it comes to Saka and Madueke, but for O'Reilly and Lewis Hall? Doesn't like the like-for-like replacement. He gets it Arsenal bias, he says.
I mean, the position flexibility. I mean, in Tuchel we trust. As I say now.
In Tuchel we trust being your new catchphrase.
Come on.
I'm not sure I'm into that
Come on.
at all.
You don't trust Tuchel?
I do. But
In Tuchel, I trust then.
I don't know if I trust you. That's more the problem. Ryan says the absence of Bowen was the biggest shock to me. Felt like he'd be great for this squad. And it's an interesting shout with Bowen. I did think he had a real chance of making it into this team for the same reason we talked about with Anthony Gordon, for the same reason we talked about with Noni Madueke. Like, what they are players who suit Thomas Tuchel's scheme and are very, very direct. And Jared Bowen loves to play that direct style of football, loves to run at people, loves to get to the bar, loves to cut the ball back. And yeah, I was slightly surprised, but I think when you're in a team who are probably going to be relegated and your form has been very up and down, then I see why he's a guy who's missed out.
I can see it as well. But you feel for him because the same way as Max brought it up, is Bowen missing out on this because, simply put, he's playing in a relegated side? But then Spence makes it, and he justifies it because he's played well on the national team, even though he's on a relegated side with 3 different managers. Some of these questions, I can understand why people have them, but in Tuchel, I trust.
Well, we'll continue the England conversation. We're still waiting on our interview with Thomas Tuchel, getting it down for the video of Faker Ruthers speaking with him. But in the meantime, and I'd say talkSPORT have launched 2 new shows over the recent weeks and months. Look at that sexy little days until the World Cup clock on the side there. Love that from Lucy in the other room. Beautiful. Sensational stuff. They've launched 2 new shows in the last couple of months. Us here at the S Word, who are designed to bridge the gap between the North American soccer fan and the English football fan. This Atlantic Ocean between Master and I. But also the brilliant How to Win the World Cup. And I'm delighted to say a man who I've seen sat in this very studio wearing a very similar shirt to this ahead of the 2026 World Cup is the brilliant comedian and host of How to Win the World Cup, Matt Ford. Matt, how are you doing, sir?
I'm very good, Will. Good to see you again.
You too, brother. You too. Talk to us. How are you feeling after the squad announcement today? Obviously, we're going to pick it apart and like decisions, not like decisions. You're quite a rampantly positive man when it comes to England. So are you still feeling rampantly positive after this morning?
I am, yeah. Obviously, as a Forest fan, Morgan Gibbs-White is the only admission that I think is sort of borderline unfair. And I think we have to, as fans, we have to be careful not to see football as like an X Factor thing and presume that because people have had a particular type of season, that means that whoever's the England manager thinks that they are the right person for a very specific job of playing tournament football at that level. But he is such an exceptional talent. It's slightly bizarre that he won't get the chance to display that ability on the world's biggest stage. Other than that, I quite like the fact that Tuchel has clearly got a very clear plan about how to go through this, has clearly thought about how you win a tournament in terms of versatile players or players that play in specific roles that he clearly wants them to perform in. And I remember 2018, we went into 2018, like in retrospect, everyone's like, oh, it was great, we got to the semi-final. I actually think we'd have beaten Croatia had we just been a bit more confident.
Confident and maybe a bit more aggressive. Maybe that was part of it, not so passive.
Exactly, but no one thought that squad. No one at that point was looking at Kieran Trippier and Harry Maguire and thinking that they were world class. No one was. People were moaning that we didn't know any of these people were. So I just think part of it, obviously, is we have to wait and see. But on top of having players like Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, Pickford, Gahey, like there are absolutely phenomenal players in that team. However I feel as a Forest fan, I think overall, actually, I do trust that Tuchel will give us the best chance that any pasty Brits would have in those conditions.
In Tuchel we trust. I like the optimism, man. It's great to hear some optimism from an English football fan.
It does give us a very funny contrast between Max Scott being in the studio momentarily ago, who described Morgan Gibbs-White not being in the English squad as a crime against football, and you saying, it's the only one I'd consider marginally unfair. I feel like that feels very much more like the centrist view on it, right? The much more like, okay, I'm not 100% happy with it, but I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have picked him, obviously, because I wouldn't necessarily have picked him around Christmas time. It's only been this latter, maybe third of the season, I think, where he's really flourished. So you wonder what more else he'd have to do, really, to get in the squad. And he does seem to, I think, goal-scoring midfielders are highly valuable in tournaments. So I am slightly surprised. But Tuchel clearly, I mean, one of the things that he said very early on, wasn't it, is that English football is more physical and that we had to lean into that English DNA. And you can see with him picking players like Henderson and Byrne that he thinks we haven't always played the English way. We've not made the most of our natural attributes. So I think that's quite interesting. That's clearly part of his mindset.
I love it because there's also a side of it. Obviously, he's German, trying to appease to the English audience, to the English fan base, and trying to be mindful.
Appease is a big word when it comes to history.
But also still trying to stay firm in his approach and being pragmatic as he is. It's a delicate balance he's trying to play. But I do want to focus in on who do you feel considers himself lucky to be on this roster?
Jed Spence, probably, but I do have to say, I think he's an exceptional footballer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had him for a season when we got promoted, and I know Championship football is different, but he's so versatile on that right side. He can defend, he can attack, he can play as wing back, he's good for goals. He's a really talented, intelligent footballer, and he's getting a lot of stick today, and I just think maybe a lot of those people probably haven't seen him at his best. And again, managers are looking for all sorts of different things in players. They're looking for them to do very specific things. It's not necessarily that they want them to play the same way that they have been doing for their clubs. They will see a particular skill that they possess or a particular ability, and that's what they want, the specific function they require of this squad. So when you've got a versatile player like Jed Spence, I'm not that surprised that he's there. And every England manager struggled with Trent. Everyone's saying, he should have gone. Southgate struggled to know how to use him in his prime. So Tuchel isn't the first to find Trent Alexander-Arnold a bit of a conundrum when it comes to England.
We should have you on more.
Do you think?
Optimism.
Oh, that's very kind.
This is such a breath of fresh air.
He's used to sitting next to my pessimistic ass every day.
Not just, it's a microcosm of every single pessimistic.
Hey, I've been the one saying it's coming home every day.
And now I'm the one saying it's coming home, and I'm an American. I don't know what's going on. But I like the fact that everyone wanted a pragmatic manager after what happened with Southgate, and they got one, and they're complaining. And as an outsider, as an American, I just do not understand it. You're getting exactly what you asked for.
I totally agree. And look at what happened at the last tournament. We tried to pay Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, and all that. We took all those 10s because we sort of believed, we've got all these talented players, we can't leave them behind. Then we get Tuchel in and say, be ruthless, think the unthinkable, do whatever it takes. Now, obviously, none of us know what's going to happen. So if I turn out to be wrong, then people will say, Gibbs-White should have gone. And I do think he should have gone. I think the main challenge at this tournament actually is not going to necessarily be the players that he has or hasn't taken. It's just the conditions. Mm-hmm. It's our Celtic, British, pasty flesh is not, even players more diverse than the really sort of pasty ginger ones are really going to struggle. They're not used to playing in those conditions. That's going to be the biggest thing. I actually think he's selected a squad overall that's capable of winning it.
It's a good point, though, right? Like, I didn't get to go to Qatar. Probably sensible I didn't go to Qatar. It's probably sensible if I don't go to America this summer as well. When are we going to get a World Cup somewhere that is going to cater to the pasty and the gingers?
Where in the world?
When we decide to bribe FIFA is the answer, isn't it? Once we surrender our British sense of fair play and start stuffing wads of cash into people's hands, then we'll host it.
What about the argument about, and I know you've talked a huge amount on your show, right? It's all about talking to World Cup winners, talking to people who've been to tournaments, learning from them of how England can maybe take take lessons from them. What do you make of the Jordan Henderson, Harry Maguire situation, where in one position he seems to be talking out of one side of his mouth of like, they want a great leader, they want a good tourist, they want somebody who's going to be like a great squad guy, but then Harry Maguire doesn't make it, who for me, I would argue is a better example of that at a position of more need.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have taken Harry Maguire. And I actually never understood all the stick he got. I mean, you look at what that period at Manchester United did to him and Rashford and other players, Mainu, it sort of destroyed them. And I never understood why he'd become such a focus of abuse, because he's such a talented and, again, versatile player who's certainly from set pieces at both ends is exceptional. Obviously, I imagine Tuchel thinks that he needs someone like, maybe he had less options in the role that Henderson performs, that Henderson's role as a sort of midfield substitute is more valuable than taking Maguire as another central defender. But it's obviously, when he's thinking about leadership, they're balancing all different things, aren't they? It's experience, character, the sort of atmosphere they bring to the camp, as well as the literal function they can perform within a team. And maybe he felt like he had more options for Maguire than he did for Henderson's place. I tell you what we can do. Can we hear from the England manager right now and get Matt's thoughts on what he had to say? Because talkSPORT's England reporter Faye Carruthers has been speaking with the England manager Thomas Tuchel and asked if he could allay any English fears about the 26-man squad.
Yes, I can. We have 26 very committed players in camp. They're committed to their role. They know their role. They're committed to their role on and off the pitch. They're happy to be unselfish. They're happy to buy and commit to the idea of building a brotherhood, of playing as a team, and of having the right spirit in camp. They showed us this in September, October, November. We created exactly the feeling and the mentality and the energy that we want to carry us through the tournament, and this is where the selection went. So yeah, we need a bit of trust now. I know that it will create noise. There is no way of this group of 55 that you narrow it down to 26, however you would do it, without creating noise. It's just impossible. So the noise is normal. It comes with difficult decisions. I love the difficult decisions because it gives us clarity, it gives us a certain edge, and from there we go. Just so you know, by the way, I felt today like hearing Thomas Tuchel speak did allay my fears, like actually hearing his pragmatism, hearing his approach. Matt, when he first sat down with Faye, his opening line to her was, "I bet talkSPORT are killing me already." We need to send him our conversation. We need Matt Ford involved with some Thomas Tuchel conversation to hear that there are some people backing him. I think, do you know what? I think when you reflect on our mindset going into any tournament, it's either sort of overblown confidence or like absolute crushing negativity. 100%. And I bet if you went back through the annals of talkSPORT and other sports discussion shows, you would see absolutely insane spectrums of opinion about every single selection. There will have been people in 2016 and 2018 go, "Why is Harry Kane? Why is Harry Kane getting picked?" Or whatever. There would have been people slagging him off. I remember at the last Euros, people saying he's too old and he's too leggy and all this sort of nonsense. He's just arguably had the best 18 months of his career at club level. Like, he's been sensational. He's a god. He's a god. And who would have thought, by the way, that the best player in Germany would be English and the English manager would have been German? This is like phenomenal progress for a particular generation of jingoists who thought they'd never live to see this day.
The unity is so beautiful. It's heartwarming. But as you talked about the hot and cold sentiment of English fans, I need to ask you, do you think it's coming home?
I always think it is. So on that track record, you should ignore everything that I'm saying, because I always believe we can. I think we've got the talent. There's no question. Purely this time, and honestly, doing How to Win the World Cup and speaking to players, all of them, whether it's Emmanuel Petit or Kleberson, Stuart Pearce, David Tim, people who've won the World Cup, people who haven't, people who've played for England at World Cups, playing in those conditions is very, very hard for Northern European players. And I think that is my main concern, is just the humidity and the heat. And I don't think you can underestimate that effect on the body if you're not used to playing in it. In every other regard, I have a lot of confidence. I think we've got to 2 major finals in our last 3 tournaments. You've got elite global players in there, including Kane, who's on the form of his life. Bellingham alone, I mean, I know he's not necessarily delivered for England in the way that we thought he would, certainly not last time. That guy is absolutely world-class. Elliot Anderson is sensational. Declan Rice is in the form of his career. Pickford is one of the best goalies in the world and never really gets the credit for it. So we have got exceptional players. We've got, I mean, just 4 or 5 match winners there without even mentioning Saka. You know, the quality is unreal. And I think in a way, having that different perspective, having an elite manager who's a winner, guiding them through it, I find really reassuring. So I think it's probably our best chance to win a World Cup for a very long time. It's just the heat.
Matt, you got me saying that. No, forget the heat. You've got me all fired up. Like, come on. I feel fire. Like, Matt, we just, there is one thing we do have to finish on. If people don't already listen to How to Win the World Cup or watch it, sensational stuff. I do have an American sat alongside me, and I am going to do
Red, white, and blue, baby.
I have to ask you what Donald Trump would make of this England squad announcement, because Master won't have seen this before.
I think it's very sad because you've got great players that he left out, like Jimmy Hurst, and everybody knows he's the best. They know he's the best, and they won't pick him. And we know why they won't pick him, because they've gone woke. And they don't want to pick players from the 60s and 70s because they talk a lot of sense. A lot of sense. And I think it's very sad he's refusing to take Paul Gascoigne. Everybody knows he's the best. They won't do it. They won't do it. Because Thomas Tuchel, maybe I can't say this. Maybe they're telling me I shouldn't say it. I think a lot of French people, they don't get it. And I think he's a Frenchman. And they're funny. Nobody understands being contrary like the French. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's done it on purpose. But I think Scotland are going to win it. That's my prediction.
Matt Forde, brilliant stuff as always. Thank you so much, Fordy.
Great meeting, Matt. Appreciate
Love you guys.
It's a truly wonderful thing. When I first started at talkSPORT and I was an AP on Extra Time, Matt Forde used to do like the weekend show, and I've been in there when he was like doing a show, and Andy Goldstein would be on Sports Bar and they'd be making him eat hot chilies, and I, as the AP, had to taste the hot chili first to make sure that it was actually hot. This is like 14, 15 years ago, and now to be doing this show together, it's a wonderful thing, a full circle moment. Love you, Fordy. Brilliant stuff. As always, we turn our attention. Coming up, we'll have Christina Runkle joining us for Clear and Obvious, but it's time to predict the weekend. It's time to look into the future. It's time to give you a crystal ball. It's almost like we forgot that there's a final game of the Premier League season to be played on Sunday, and a Women's Champions League final.
And a relegation battle.
On the experts from talkSPORT.
The daily deep dive into the world of football.
The S word
from talkSPORT. kickoff to the full-time whistle.
Don't say the S word. Say the F word. Football.
The S word.
From talkSPORT.
My God.
Not only does his fringe look rubbish today, but he's now had to slide out a shot right at the beginning. Oh, my God. Sam Harris in the building.
Where's the disgrace, Arteta?
Yeah. It's a disgrace.
It's absolute
An
disgrace.
absolute disgrace.
Absolutely. You are watching the S Word from talkSPORT on the talkSPORT S Word YouTube channel or via the talkSPORT YouTube channel. If you are there, do make sure to give it a like. It's only one click on the little thumb. Maybe leave us a little message. I can see there are more of you watching than as much typing in the messages, so get involved. We want to hear from you, your thoughts on this England squad, but also on the final weekend of the Premier League season where we might just see Tottenham Hotspur relegated. The Master is ready to parade it around Emirates Stadium from what I'm hearing.
I can't wait. If it happens, there will be another 100,000 people outside the Emirates on Sunday.
God.
I feel for Chelsea fans because they really thought at one point they were the biggest club in London, and
I think
they've been humbled.
The 25 trophies that they've won over the last 25 years compared to your, 4 in that same period of time.
One has brought out 100,000 more people than those 25.
You don't need to go and celebrate with 100,000 people outside the stadium when you're used to winning trophies every season.
There's
obviously.
no cultural impact.
Why am I supporting Chelsea?
Yes.
This is
Come
horrible.
on. There's you don't see goats in Uganda being carried on the backs of people with Arsenal kits on when Chelsea wins. It's a global revolution right now.
Oh, God. Right, Christina Uncle's going to join us shortly for some clear and obvious, but let's get into the biggest 5 games of the weekend with Master Damus.
Master Damus. Master Damus. Master Damus.
Oi! Doesn't that really good looking host support 2 teams, bruv?
We have heard that Sam Harris is going to be going to the Emirates if Tottenham are relegated. Admittedly, he's a West Ham fan and therefore will be celebrating. But none of this, he's not going to go to the London Stadium or to the graveyard of Upton Park. No, he's going to go to the Emirates and celebrate with the Arsenal fans because he's a scumbag. Sam Harris, how are you, sir?
Wow. I'm very well. Happy Friday to you both. Another really good show. I'm enjoying it. Sat the other side of the glass. We've having a lot of fun. Master, you put on those props earlier were brilliant. I did feel a bit sorry for Max, but
I did. He was really going through it, and I was over here with the flamingo.
But he's been with us this week. He knows what we're
he
like.
does.
He knows what we're about.
Thankfully, he corrected me when I said a shark, and he's like, "It's actually a dolphin." And
It's very clearly a dolphin as well.
I couldn't tell. I just picked it up. I was just picking up props.
Well, poor Gab's nearly fainted trying to blow that up. So
where'd the palm tree go?
I did put it down. Obviously, we wanted to get in some serious conversation with our Donald Trump impressionist earlier, so I did take it down.
We
but
missed the palm tree.
after last week, Master looked like he was going to run away with it after week 1.
Calm down.
But as you said, Will, it's very early on.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, baby.
And Master only managed to get 1 point last week.
Whoa.
And Will, you got 2. So you've dragged you've dragged
It's
it
all
back.
about cutting the deficit, baby. It's all about cutting that deficit.
away.
Brick by brick.
Chip away. So it's now 7-5. And we're going to start this week.
Just a reminder, for a correct score, it's 3 points. For a correct result, it's 1 point.
Of course, yes. Yeah,
Come on, Sam.
I'm
Professional.
Poor adjudicator. So we're going to start this week off with one of the biggest games probably in this club's history. Tottenham versus Everton. Master, I'll let you go first this week. How do you see this game going?
Oh, man. Considering I was just at Everton last week, almost wore an Everton kit which I bought for this project I'm working on that you'll see in August.
You were going to wear an Everton shirt today.
I was.
You absolutely should have done that.
I'm going to do it Monday.
It's all right. I nearly bought you an England kit when I was in Tesco yesterday just to make you wear it today while we're talking about it. So
I decided to save my Everton kit for Monday because I've got Everton 2, Tottenham 1.
Oh, I love you. And we'll get to the next game to see if I really love you. But Will, how do you see this game?
Everton players care so little about this game of football. They are quite literally on the... Give me the music, Gabs. Give me that music.
Right on cue.
They are on the beach. They are ready for the summer. They're not just on the beach. They're enjoying late night cocktails at a bar of ill repute. And therefore, they are going to be just the 3rd team this season to go to North London and lose a game of football. I'm going 2-1 to the Spurs.
Is it really on the beach when Grealish and Pickford do that every week, anyways? I
was just becoming aware of it. I
feel like it's just part of their weekly routine.
I felt for the gimmick. I needed to say Tottenham win. I actually think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1 and a bit nervy.
But that would get them.
That's
through.
my real thought.
That would get Tottenham.
Yeah.
That would keep Tottenham
Well,
safe.
Moyes, this is the second hardest team he's faced in his Premiership tenure. He doesn't like playing Tottenham.
Sam.
He's only ever won 28% of the time.
While you're here,
no, I'm not doing it. We're going to move on.
West Ham fan.
Come on, come
Listen,
on.
Stu
come
Holden
on.
did it yesterday
Come
for
on,
Bolton.
come on.
Master did it for Arsenal.
Look right in here. Look right in
Arsenal
the
won
camera.
the title after he did it.
Come on.
Look, David, Mr. Moyes, I know you're a colleague now, so I'm going to be careful with what I say, considering you're probably a few floors up and you come down and batter me. I will take back everything I have ever said about you if you can do us a favour and beat Spurs on the weekend. I know you've struggled, and I think it's 28% win rate, I think, if I'm correct. Let's just move that up to 30%. Get a decent result for us, keep us in the league, and then we can think about building the Moyes statue outside. But West Ham still have to do their job. So we will move to that next. Will?
That was not a very convincing speech.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That was the worst.
speech that we've had.
The worst one we've had by a country mile.
That was not good.
That's why I'm the other side of the glass.
He didn't believe it. No, it's nothing to do with the other side of the glass. Mate, I have seen you deliver some of the most passionate conversations about some of the most benign stuff you've ever heard in your life.
In about an hour now, I will see a more passionate speech about how beautiful the weather is outside and how much you love summer in London.
I didn't want to do it. That's all you're getting from me. But let's move on to the West Ham game. Well, you've gone to Tottenham to win, so relegate West Ham.
No, I've gone for a draw in the end. For the bit, I did the win because it was.
Well, either way, that will relegate us. But do you see West Ham getting a result against Leeds?
I do not. I do. Well, I say not a result. I feel like the most heartbreaking thing that could possibly happen to West Ham is getting a win and then having Spurs pick up points. I don't think that even that's going to happen. I'm not sure. I don't think Leeds United are on the beach. I'm going to leave my lay on the floor. I'm not going to pick up the palm tree. I think Leeds United, we saw it in the last two games, played with some passion, played with some heart, played with some fire, despite the fact that there was nothing left to play for in their season. I think they're going to go to West Ham. It's going to be nervy. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be a horrendous atmosphere. That protest which has been cancelled, get ready for 70 minutes when it's going to start back up again.
Oh, yeah.
When the board are getting booed out of the building. I'm going to also take another 1-1 draw. I'm going to really hedge my bets and just say they're going to be two scrappy, horrible games of football.
Master?
I have been spot on when I've talked about Leeds and whether they're on the beach or not. I think they're on the beach. Cue my music, Gaps.
My music.
Stolen your sunglasses as well.
Yes, I did.
My wife's sunglasses at that.
Shout out to your wife. Beautiful shades.
They look sensational on you, annoyingly.
Doesn't everything?
She's not wearing them with the do-rag, to be fair. But
I mean, hey, there's a first for everything. We have seen the England roster announcement already announced, okay? What more do they have to play for? They're safe. Unfortunately, Calvert-Lewin did not make the England roster. Well deserving of it, but he didn't. They're going to make sure that they can enjoy their summer without having to deal with an injury or a knock. They can properly be on the beach without having to rehab. West Ham canceling protests, getting behind their club, supporting their club, even if there is a track and field track that separates them between the pitch.
It's hard to get behind your club when we're sitting closer to the pitch at London Stadium than the fans will be on Sunday right now.
But they'll have their binoculars on. They'll be chanting, bring out them flares. West Ham, 2-1.
I love you, Master. I knew I loved you.
I've been in that building enough times to know that if they're not 2-0 up within the first 10 or 15 minutes, it's going to turn sour quick.
Yeah, but they have no choice today.
They're going to get behind the team.
They have no choice.
Master, I'm going to give you the floor next for a bit of a preview of it as well, if you can, shortly. As short as you can, because we are running out of time today. But
wow,
we have got the big.
Can you just wrap it up, please, mate?
The big deal of the women's UEFA Champions League final: Barcelona versus Lyon.
Wrap it up.
I'll let you take the floor here.
This is going to be an incredible final. A beautiful stage for women's football. Lyon last year coming up short, losing to Arsenal, surprisingly, as they went on their Women's Champions League run. This year coming back, Michelle Kang pouring a ton of investments into the squad, and it's leading them to a possibility of, once again, European glory. On the other side of this, you have Barcelona, which despite their financial shortfalls, a very short, a thin roster that they had to deal with this season, finding themselves in the Champions League final. They are also European giants. This is going to be an incredible, incredible match. Two teams worthy of a final. I'm going to go with Lyon. I think this goes to extras.
Ooh. Don't get any extra points for that, though.
I know, but I'm just keeping
points.
I'm keeping it a bean. Lyon 3-2.
I had 3-2. How funny is that? I'll do 2-1 instead. Fine.
You could.
I think they find. I think they get over that hump. They've had these. They've played Barcelona before in these huge situations. Barcelona have overcome them. I think with everything that's happening at Barcelona, it's astonishing that they've reached the final this year. And I think Lyon will have too much for them. So I'm going to go 2-1, and I'll go in normal time just to really, hedge my bets.
Do we get extra point for that? Can we just throw that on there?
Or bigger question: if it's 3-2 after 90 minutes, does he get 3 points for that, or because he said after 120?
I threw it out there. I'm just
I'll throw it to the team after the show. And we'll come
on. Boo! Make a decision. Come on.
We're going to go enjoy the sun after this. We'll discuss it.
Thank God you're not cold one. Thank God you're not PGMOL leader.
No, of course. Right, so another big final. This one, it gets dubbed as the £200 million game, the £250 million game. I don't know what it's up to now. Massive game, especially with the news this week. Southampton getting booted out and Borough getting put back in. I'll let you start with this one, Will. Championship playoff final. Hull, Borough. How's it going?
I think there's an issue with Hull of them getting in their own heads about this, because they were talking about also taking their own legal action because they've been preparing for Southampton because that was announced.
They've had the same time now as Borough to prepare.
The problem is Middlesbrough are, in theory, the better football team. They create more chances, they hold possession better, they are a better attacking force, but they just don't finish. They just don't score enough goals. And I think that's going to be a problem. I think sometimes the Championship playoff final really swings between. It's some of the best games ever seen at Wembley have been Championship playoff finals. I've been to a few of them, lost all of them, but Bolton 4-3, Swansea 3-2, Walsall 3-2. These are games that bring out the very best in English football, and yet you also get the 0-0s with Huddersfield. You get QPR scraping a late 1-0 win with Bobby Zamora. Shout out to Wally Hunter if he's watching or listening. One of the worst games of football I've ever seen, with one of the greatest moments of football I've ever seen, with the way that crowd reacted to that goal. I think this is going to be a game like that. I think Borough nick it 1-0 late.
Whoa. Master, what say you?
You know what's funny? I also view this to be a scrappy, ugly match. This is everything Borough's gone through. Hull also getting in the playoff, edging out Wrexham, a great story in itself. I'm sure a lot of people are rooting for Borough, and understandably so. Give me Hull 1-0.
Either side of the divide, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's going to be one of those weird games where it just give me a set piece from Hull, and they find a way to get it through.
I like it. On to the final one. We had some debate in our pre-match show today which one we were going to go with. And we went for one team that was on the beach.
You're still not doing Bolton Stockport over here, so,
Yeah.
Giving some true respect to League One live on talkSPORT 2.
Shout out to our good friend of the show, and still holding.
To be fair, yeah, we should have done that, but instead I decided to go for Brighton Manchester United. One team on the beach, one team going for Europe. Master, you can start with this one. How's it going?
This one, I think, is going to be a very chaotic, high-scoring match. And I said that last week about Brighton, and they let me down, and I'm doubling down now. With Bruno still needs another assist to be the outright assist leader in the Premier League, so I think we'll still get something from him. I don't think United's fully on the beach, but I think Brighton's going to give it their all. Give me 3-1 Brighton.
Wow, nice.
Well, guys, I wish you the best of luck.
I didn't give a prediction.
You're not allowed.
I picked the correct result.
Go on, Will. What have we got?
I think this is going to be. It's absolutely wild, this situation, because as it stands right now, we've got Brentford in action, but have fallen below Chelsea on goal difference, so they need to get a result over Liverpool in order to get back into Europe. You've got Aston Villa, who are as on the beach as possible. If they slip into fifth, this becomes a Champions League spot. I think Brighton are going to have their hearts broken because Bournemouth are going to get a result.
I think you're right.
Against Forest. And then Brighton are going to... I also had a win. I had a 2-0 Brighton win.
But European football for Brighton, it's still...
Oh, it's a wonderful result.
Tremendous accomplishment.
Yeah, I'll go 2-0 Brighton. I'll stick with it. I was thinking about flopping, but I'll just stick with it.
I can wish you luck now. Now you've given me...
we've finished doing the feature. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, I'm very nervous.
Hopefully they give a better effort than what you just gave us.
I'm all up in Wootton Bassett for my cousin's 40th birthday, and there's a fair few West Ham fans that are going to be there. We're going to be sat in a cricket club in Wootton Bassett, probably the most amount of West Ham fans that have ever been in that region. So you might be able to
paying wooden basset, claret and blue, baby.
And I have said to you guys, it's either going to be one of the longest and saddest journeys back home to London Sunday night, or one of the best. And I might not be here Monday in case I miss the last train or get kicked off of it.
So I think my feeling on Sunday is that I am basically in a win-win situation.
Are you? I feel like I'm in a win-win situation.
West Ham stay up. My buddy is happy. It's going to be a better show on Monday because Spurs will have gone down and you'll be in full celebration mode again. Or West Ham go down, Spurs stay up, the result I actually want. I think it's a win-win for me. I'm all right with it either way. Also, if Tottenham go down, with my other hat on for talkSPORT 2, the numbers next year are going to be sensational. We have all 46 of their championship games live and exclusive on the talkSPORT network. Woo, baby. Daddy's getting a pay rise. Sam, thank you so much to you. Master Dallas will be back next week, of course, and we might actually remember to give you the results on Monday or Tuesday next week. Don't forget, you can keep getting in touch in the chat at talkSPORT S-Word on YouTube. Also, you'll find us on Instagram and X as well. Still to finish us off for the week, though, we're going to make sure if things are still clear and obvious with Christina Uncle.
Around here, we only use the F word.
talkSPORT presents
the S word. talkSPORT presents
the S Word.
Get your full-on football fix from across the football galaxy.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
Do you ever notice suspicious behaviour on the other side of the glass, Master?
Sometimes you'll just hear some giggles and some
Just
laughs,
like someone's talking to you on talkback and you just hear giggling in the background. Like
10 seconds.
Sam can't breathe right now. Like he is all over the shop. Right. Great. That's why. If you missed it earlier, wind back about 15 minutes and watch Sam Harris realise he's in shot. Full on Homer Simpson in the bushes, sliding out of the shop. Absolute clown. That's exactly what he is. This is the S Word from talkSPORT. I'm with Gavin Musters, Fatsy, and alongside me, week 3, pretty much in the
Summer
books.
Friday!
And we're going to hit the bars of South London before getting ready for a huge weekend in the Premier League. And there's some fascinating conversations to be had on the refereeing from the past week. I'm delighted to say, a perfect way to round off a great week on the show. One of our favourites from her first appearance and returning to the S Word is the brilliant former referee and announced as part of the talkSPORT team for the World Cup. Christina Unkel is with us. Christina, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the introduction. You guys are always generous and kind over there.
It looks beautiful.
No,
you are like.
What did you say? Summer Friday. This is definitely what I'm leaning into right now over here. So I am in a beautiful atrium.
They call it Friday beers here in London. We call Summer Friday in America, but we're bridging the gap. We're bridging the gap.
Here we are.
Christina, before we get into some of the decisions from this week, I did want to ask. We had a really interesting conversation with Pablo Mara earlier this week, and an article he wrote for The Guardian that the MLS are considering pitching this idea of introducing a stop clock into the second tier from next year, potentially. And really just get your thoughts on it as someone who's officiated major games, this idea that maybe we see an entire change in the way that injury time, an entire way that games would be refereed. Like, how much of an impact could that have on the way that games are officiated?
It actually impacts it quite a bit. So here stateside, right, college for us, university for those back at home at UK, we already use it in the college system. From an officiating standpoint, we're used to it here stateside in America of officiating with the clock, stopping it for long stoppages, stopping it for injuries. Last 5 minutes, I think it's the last 5 minutes where if there's a team that's up and they start to delay or they sub, we stop it. So we're actually used to it here. It is a very pro-American sport application, right? So I know around the world it's not used to it. It's kind of a foreign thing. But as a referee, once you start adding that clock and managing that clock, I can tell you the troubles of managing the dark arts of delaying the time when the clock is continuing to run. It happens the opposite, where now you get coaches who try to manage the referee to get them to stop the clock. But here in America, there has been a strong push and an emphasis to actually implement that into our game. So I am not surprised. It's been on MLS's conversation. I know in the late 90s, they applied it. And, the Major League Soccer is just a place where we have applied new rules, new concepts. I was part of the first group of referees that were trained and taught in VAR in both the USL system and then the MLS system. So it wouldn't really be a surprise if that is trialed if we get the permission from IFAB.
It's great to see that. Now let's focus in on a couple decisions that happened in the last week. And we start off with the Arsenal-Burnley match, as a lot of controversy, a lot of conversation around a yellow card given to Kai Havertz. Some people felt it was a red card. They just released the ref cam footage from it. I'm curious, with that conversation being had with the official, if you've had a chance to see it, and the decision that was made both by the official and VAR, was it the right call to stick with the call on the field, which was a yellow card?
So I'm just going to give my opinion. I do believe it is a red card. I do believe VAR should have recommended it down for a clear and obvious error for a red card, because I do believe it falls within the serious foul play and something that we would want to implement and integrate. To your point, I did listen to the audio cam and the ref cam that we have, and you can hear Stuart Atwell clearly say not enough, right? The force wasn't there. And I know what he's effectively the consideration he was leaning into. We do have studs. We have point of contact, back of the calf, upper part of the calf, right? Not as close to the ankle. And he's running away and his foot's slightly starting to be lifted up when that contact happens, right? So the argument could be had that the studs isn't going through the player in the sense of if he'd be standing and going towards him, but instead it's going at the player while he's running away. Okay, but I think at the end of the day, even if you try to make that argument, you still got a bit of speed. It's a lunge. He has no attempt to play the ball. With all due respect, the ball is lower. It's not a bouncing ball. It's down on the ground. It's in front. And he's coming from behind. So the player has no opportunity to protect himself. And because those considerations far outweigh this consideration of potentially, I don't think there's enough force. And then there's an appreciation from an official. Sometimes you can be too close to the play to not appreciate the magnitude of the situation. And that's where I think Stewart found himself is, yes, he was very close to the play. He was within 5 feet. But at the same time, even if he took 5 feet backwards, he would appreciate the fact that that was a lunge. It was from behind. There was studs into the back of the calf. And just to be quite honest, I mean, these players are $1 million players. If we are saying that's only a yellow card, now we're encouraging that tackle to happen weekend after weekend, saying that's just a yellow card. And that's why I find it to be a red card.
You should have seen the shock on my face.
I loved it.
I've been arguing all day. It's been a yellow.
He threw the ref cam in and basically went, look, proves my point.
I did.
And I was like, does it?
But then why did VAR...
He called it an orange card. That's what he did.
I did call it an orange card because my producers do that in my ear. Now every English person thinks I'm making up cards. Anyways, so why do you think VAR stood with the call and did not take another look?
It's that consideration that he felt like there wasn't enough force into it that he probably saw. And, from a referee standpoint, you can't necessarily hear it. But if you're your referee is saying point of contact, I see studs at the back of the ankle. I see that he came from behind. I just don't think it was enough of force to be there. From the VAR's perspective, you now have to think, okay, am I going to be showing the referee the same thing that he says he's seen, and will it make him overturn his decision? So there's that consideration you have from a VAR perspective, and I'm actually not surprised the VAR did not recommend it down, just because where the line and the threshold is in Premier League versus in other leagues, right? I cover Serie A, I cover UEFA Champions, I cover multiple leagues around the world, both domestic and international. Like, that is an expectation in those other leagues for that to be a red card. Whereas here, I think still in the Premier League, there's some cleaning up of what was the old school thought process of saying no blood, no foul, right? I think we still have that balance between the old mentality and modern football in the sense of expectation and protecting players.
It's not a non-contact sport, Christina. That's what they'll tell you.
Exactly. And then we talk about, right, corner kicks, right? So there's still like attempts to fix the pushing and the holding, and it's just changing the mentality of also the officials to say, this is what I'm used to having refereed, but now I'm being asked to referee in this kind of direction. I think you get a pull on the philosophy of the officiating versus the expectations of modern football now.
What a perfect segue into our next question that we have.
Well, yeah, indeed.
It's like I knew.
But because there has been a huge amount of conversation about this, and this is we've turned into one of my pet peeves of social media, which is freeze frame refereeing, of trying to figure out the exact moment a ball is kicked, the moment that a foul is committed or not committed. I'm talking about the Mickey van der Ven Cucurella incident in the Tottenham game, where a yellow card is given. Clearly, the referee has seen what they consider to be foul play, but it's before the ball is in play, and therefore a penalty is not given. How on earth do we clean that up to actually fully decide whether or not that should be a decision either way or not? How do we decide if a ball has been kicked or not? How can VAR and refereeing in the moment figure that out?
Yeah, I do think this comes down to some common sense officiating, and also what is it that we're trying to eliminate from the game. So a foul occurs when the referee determines mentally when the foul occurs, right? Because sometimes a referee will see a foul occur and not be able to get the whistle off in time, and then the ball might be kicked. And that's where people are like, well, the ball was physically kicked, but it's when the referee mentally decides when it's done. It's not only when the whistle is hit, right, necessarily. So that being said, and what I mean by common sense officiating is the type of foul that occurred here by Cucurella is a holding foul. It's a dragging foul. It's one of our few, it's probably the only foul, now I think about it, that is the only foul that is what we call a continuation foul, meaning that it's not only when he begins to hold, but it's effectively when he releases. So I was trying to find videotape as well in the synchronization, and there's some that were off, so I don't want to say to that point. But if we're going to argue and say if Cucurella is an upper body holding, challenging foul, and as an official, and you've already warned it, right before the corner kick, he stopped it, he already talked to the players, he backed out. And this is where I think the officials in the Premier League can become more emphatic in this point of emphasis. Be like, I already warned you, ball's hit, I'm going to wait, and now I'm going to start hitting penalties or fouls coming out, right? And just start enforcing that. So this one, an upper body drag, the referee could have said, okay, I'm going to let this go. If I see that, then I'm actually going to call a penalty on that. That is going to start curbing behavior, not waiting and saying, let's deal with it before the ball is kicked mentally.
Is it something, I mean, in this country, our show is a global show. That's the intention of it. In this country, it's obviously been a huge focus between the Arsenal incident, between that incident, between, all the pushing, pulling and everything that goes on in the box of late. Is that going to be a focus potentially at the World Cup? Is that something that IFAB are trying to look at as well as the PGMOL? Are we going to see a change in that rule potentially over coming months, weeks, whenever that could be?
Yeah, it's actually been a point of emphasis for officials in FIFA, and I know here domestic stateside in Major League Soccer and NWSL and USL, same thing of dealing with this kind of conduct before the ball is into play, because then it gets very complicated once the ball's into play to determine who fouled who when everybody's on the ground. So this has been a point of emphasis. This is why you've seen a lot of the officials do the ceremonial stop, whether it's a corner kick or a set piece going in the attacking third, and speaking to the players, and everyone's sitting, why are they slowing it down? Because it has been a point of emphasis. So now it's a matter of, great, you can always tell someone what you're going to do. It's like raising a kid, right? If you're going to tell them, if you do this, you're going to get in trouble, but you keep telling them that, then all of a sudden your word has no meaning, right? You actually have to conduct the punishment. And so that's where we need to get to. FIFA is already clamped tight on it. This is something that they're going to want to see eliminated. And then it's just going to come down to the official to say, do I have enough, one, to be respectful, courage to be able to make a major game decision, but also have I set it up to the point that nobody in the media, us, will sit there and say the referee didn't try to manage that situation before it became. It's on the players for him or her to have called that penalty or that foul coming out that might have taken a ball out of the back of the net.
Will the different camera angles help? Because I'm listening to Thomas Tuchel as he built out the squad and wanting to lean in on England's physicality. And you imagine that they're going to try and take advantage of the players and how successful some of them have been with set pieces. Is there going to be more camera angles to help mitigate that when you talk about the officiating? And what are the safety nets that can be created in the event that the official on the field doesn't have the courage to call it?
Great point on that, because yes, there are going to be multiple cameras, so there is no blind spots. There will be no blind spots in the Men's World Cup. There are more than enough camera angles to be able, and with semi-automated, but I know it's snickometer or something. That's what I learned back in the day. That's what they call snickometer in cricket. Back at where you guys are at, there is no way to hide. So truly, if someone wants to play a physical, aggressive game in the box, that's actually going to occur, because we're not talking about league play where you have 10 months, right, and you can make up a play, in points and a different thing. We're talking about less than 40 something, like 42, 43. I'm losing track of the numbers of days that I'm going to be in Brooklyn. But every decision, a game-changing decision, has so much scrutiny on it because it's a competition play that I promise you, if the officials are going to do it, they're going to do it because the video evidence is so clear that if not, then they'd probably, we'd be talking about it at Clear and Obvious segment the next day.
You want to talk about England physicality from set pieces. Sol Campbell against Argentina, Sol Campbell against Portugal. Both of those goals were goals, and both of them were ruled out for a foul at the time. VAR had been around back then. England would have had a major tournament in the books already. Frank Lampard, everything else. We were robbed, I tell you. Absolutely robbed. I do want to, I know I'm jumping back a little bit to talk about that earlier conversation about the stop clock, but actually I saw a really interesting...
America so much.
Yeah, just America.
Love our innovation.
America.
So I read it's actually less to do with America, more to do with major tournaments. This is where they joke about I'm PGMOL Gavin. Like I love VAR and I love talking about officials and refereeing, but I did read a really interesting study that was done here that looked into all the games from the last World Cup and all the games from the last Euros, and that focused on added on time at the end of the second half, and that actually there was evidence that in tight games, in single goal games, we did see more what they called unexplained added on. Do you think that's an officiating thing of you're paying more attention maybe to the time wasting or to the time you would add on when games are tight? Actually, if a game's 3-0, you're thinking I could just blow the whistle at 90 right now and it's not going to affect the result. Is that actually something that goes through an official's mind when they're on the field? Do they officiate that slightly differently?
I don't know if you officiate slightly differently consciously. I think subconsciously it occurs because of the heightened scrutiny and pressure that you have. Yes, it was a 4-year endeavor to even be invited to the Men's World Cup. Sorry, I've been talking about the Women's World Cup, so I keep saying Men's World Cup, Women's World Cup. Sorry, the World Cup, right?
That's on me. Men's World Cup.
No, it's fine. So you have that heightened... you have that heightened pressure and scrutiny, right? You have Colina in the stands, right? You have every little thing is looked at, every little stoppage of time. Huge emphasis by IFAB and FIFA to eliminate time wasting, right? We have now the 8 seconds for the goalkeeper to distribute the ball, right? We have the 10 seconds on the throw-ins. We have how much is time wasting on these injuries? You know, is this a fake injury? Is it not a fake injury? So officials, particularly when you have here in the VAR system protocol, is you no longer have just a VAR and an assistant VAR. You have a VAR, assistant VAR, an assistant VAR. There are like multiple people in that room scrutinizing the time to make sure all the time is played for. So that is why you see such an excess amount of time, because there is a mandate from your bosses who, if you don't, you get cut from the tournament early. And it's such a prestige and it's so hard to get there that they're over scrutinizing the time, because that is what is being asked of them to do.
See, she's mapping out the growth ladder for you, from assistant VAR to assistant to
we'll
VAR.
start him at the
just to be clear,
we'll start him at the video operator, meaning he has no power or impact. He just shows the clips.
I want to be clear here. There's no way I'm ever working for Luigi Collina, because I would be. You said you were scared because he's in the stands. If I knew he was in the same zip code as me, I would be terrified. The idea that he gives me that stare is just gonna like sends chills down my spine. Christina, wonderful stuff as always. Thank you so much for joining us. Brilliant stuff.
Of course, it's Friday.
Summer Friday.
Let's go.
Summer Friday.
That's how we should always end Summer Friday, with in-depth conversation about officiating.
As you would love, right? Just all that's missing is a nice pint for you right now, and bickering about decisions and controversies.
But you got told.
I did, but you know what?
And she was bang on. Like, it's really great to have, and that's why having someone like Christina, who is so good, come on and do it, is because we're debating back and forth, and you're talking about the intent, and I'm talking about like the speed of play and everything else, and she just comes on and just basically is like, yeah, this is what I think about it, and you sit there and go, yeah, I can't argue with any of that.
She really just shot right here, and I'm still catching up my breath. But you know what? It wasn't cold.
It's a sensational weekend coming up for us. We've got the Championship and the League One and League Two playoff finals. We have the final weekend of the Premier League season. We've got the Women's Champions League final. There's so much great football coming for you over the weekend. And here at the S Word, we will be back to cover it all every weekday, 1 till 3 p.m. in the UK, 8 till 10 Eastern. You can watch the whole show back on the YouTube channel. You can go and watch our clips, our shorts, our full length, all of that stuff. Just make sure to go and like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Master, have a wonderful weekend.
It'll be Eritrean Independence Day and hopefully celebrating a relegation battle.
Celebrating a relegation battle.
Another 100,000 at the Emirates, baby. Come on. Come on.
Thank you so much.
From kickoff to the full-time whistle,
talkSPORT presents
the S Word.
in the books. Big show coming up, Master. And then we're going to go enjoy some Summer Friday.
Summer Friday, or Friday beers, as they call it here across the pond. But a lot of things happened across the pond today, didn't they?
We did get into the England squad announcement. Some passion was had. I think you bought into it a huge amount, as people will hear. I was a little more pessimistic, shock horror, but we did also have the great Max Scott join us in studio. He joined us in studio when we were doing On the Beach, and the poor lad went on a tirade about Morgan Gibbs-White while we sat there wearing inflatables on our heads and lays and
nice
Hawaiian
flamingos
shirts.
and sharks that I thought were sharks, but they're actually dolphins.
Go and watch it on YouTube.
Please go watch it on YouTube. It's
sensational.
much better on YouTube.
We also have Master Damus coming up and Pep Guardiola chat, as well as it was announced officially today he is departing Manchester City. All coming up on the S Word. They got to do what, Master? Give it that 5 stars.
5 stars, baby. Check us out. Tune in. Let's get it.
That was the S Word. Thank you so much for joining us on a Friday. A reminder, we're here Monday to Friday every single week up until the World Cup, and then 7 days a week during the World Cup. 1 till 3 live on YouTube, 8 till 10 Eastern, and you'll be able to get the podcast.
Summer Friday! Friday beers!
We're off. See you later. On the beach.